Hello everyone. Well, it's been a while, and it's been too long. Figured I'd let you all know what I've been up to and what I'm gonna be up to this summer. And I'll tell you, it's been pretty busy this year. Haven't been making content because, for those of you who watch my stuff, I've said in the past that I'm a college student, so I've been really busy this past semester. My main college semester just got over. I just got back from field camp. Yeah, this has been my busiest college semester yet, and probably the most stressful. It was just the last couple months have just been go, 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 just non-stop getting things done. So it's definitely been a stressor, this one. So as I mentioned, I finished my geology field camp just a couple weeks ago, or last week, whenever it was. We were down learning how to do mapping. We were making maps at craters of the moon and then around Dillon, Montana. I filmed my first field camp. There's a video on that if you want to check it out. It'll be up here in this corner. But didn't really get the chance to film too much on this trip because just the amount of work and the amount of things I had to do, there just wasn't time to do a whole bunch of filming. Took a little bit of clips and some pictures, but I figured for this video I'll clip them all together and we'll show you some of that. Yeah, so for this video I'll show you what I did for field camp as well as the other things I was doing towards the end of my semester, because I took a couple field trips. Had to do a big old massive report. Won't show you that. But collected some cool rocks. Got to see some cool stuff over the past couple months. So I'll share that with you. We ended up driving through Stanley, Idaho, which was really neat because I haven't been through there. Really pretty landscapes going through there. So we stayed at the Lost River Field Station. So this is a field station for geology students, I believe, and other geologists to use while they're out in the field, which was pretty neat. It was a whole lot better than what we were dealing with for our first field camp, where we were basically just in tents in the middle of a hot desert, just dealing with the elements. And then right outside, they had campers and these little buildings that you could stay in. I was not fortunate enough to get one of the buildings, and I knew that the wind in this area was going to be picking up, so I did not want to deal with a tent, so I ended up staying in one of the local campers that were... So I am going to do that. Show you inside. Get up out of that wind. This is going to be home sweet home for the first 3 nights. This is where I'm going to be sleeping. Just going to throw the sleeping bag right over this old dirty thing. Here's my nice view out there. The following morning, we drove an hour to Craters of the Moon to start our first mapping exercise, mapping volcanic landforms, lava flows, cinder cones, looking for eruptive vents and sources. The one thing that was really annoying was the wind. It was absolutely relentless out there. This is a picture inside one of the vents. I believe this is an old spatter cone vent, so this is where the magma itself would have been erupting through. You could see some of the melt surfaces on the rock itself, and then around the opening of the vent on the top there was lots of lava bombs and spatter. So Craters of the Moon is a massive volcanic field, a basaltic volcanic field, and it started forming around 15,000 years ago, but the most recent eruption was only 2,000 years ago, so this volcanic field still is active. Though it's not erupting, it could at any moment, but it's probably unlikely to erupt anytime soon. I think it could erupt, but that's just me. I've actually been to Craters of the Moon before, and I have a video on it, so if you want to check that out, it's in the upper right corner. It was when I did my Yellowstone trip, so the Craters of the Moon part's near the end. But what was cool about this field camp experience is when you're just a normal visitor to this monument, you're not allowed to leave the trails, but since we were having to do field mapping, we had a special permit, which means we could go off the trail, and we got to experience and see a lot of things that people would not be able to see otherwise. Here's an awesome picture of one of the cinder cones, and then right in front of it here, up close to the camera, is one of the fissures where the lava was actively erupting up from. There's lots of bombs and stuff around it. And then this flow in the background actually is younger than this eruptive vent because in places this flow is actually flowing down and filling the fissure vent. So after Craters of the Moon, we took a nice long drive all the way to Dillon, Montana. We were greeted by a nice snowfall. Later in the day, a small group of us, including Jesse, we went to what is known as Crystal Park, which is in Montana, and it is a place to dig up quartz crystals. So we did that for a little while. I didn't have the proper equipment or the patience to sift through all the dirt very carefully, so I'm sure I missed tons of crystals, but I did come up with a couple of nice ones. Not as many as the others, but it's alright. Our second mapping area was near Dillon, and this time we were mapping a lot of different gneiss. So we had mainly two different types of gneiss, but there was also a rhyolitic flow out there, as well as a lot of quartz veins, pegmatite, and granitic intrusions. Some of them were pretty massive, like this one here. This is one of my group members standing on top of the dike, as well as me here. Our third mapping area was the largest by far, so this ended up being our largest mapping area. It took us 3 or 4 days to map this entire area, so this was a huge project. Lots of sedimentary rock this time, with some basalt lavas and intrusions like dikes and sills, and a little bit of granite in the northern part of the map, which our group never got to go see. So we definitely lost points for that. This part reminded me a lot of being down in Utah, just because of the colored exposed sedimentary rock and the heat. It only got up to 78, I believe, but it felt like it was 90. There was this one area they called the Rat's Nest, highly folded rock, and our group was pointed in that direction by accident, so we spent our first half day completely lost trying to figure out what was happening. So these are little gastropods fossils that you could find in one of the limestones, which is a key characteristic of this certain limestone. So this, if you see this in this limestone, it pretty much lets you know that this is this limestone, and then you can kind of figure out what the other sedimentary units are around in the area. But it was just absolutely beautiful being out there. It was a lot of work, very exhausting time, but nonetheless, very good time. Had a fun time being out there. On the very last day of our mapping, a group of us went to go find this dinosaur bone that's in this conglomerate layer. These rock units are from the Jurassic to Cretaceous in age, and this conglomerate in particular is Cretaceous in age. Never seen anything like that, so great to go see that, and I'm glad that it's still there, and I hope no one messes with it. I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's just there for everyone to enjoy. There's no reason to dig it out, just leave it there, and for people that know about it, they can go and check it out. There were also some little leaf and fern stick fossils also in the rock. There's not a lot to talk about with our fourth mapping area. We were mapping some more of the sedimentary units, as well as some igneous stuff as well. There were some folds in this limestone here, but overall, heavily forested. There wasn't a whole lot to see. Everything pretty much stayed the same. This was our easiest map to make by far, so all the units were pretty easy to map, so this only took like 2 days. For our final map project, we had a single day to map this area. We had no idea what the units were. We had to figure it out. Well, I just dropped over the other side. I'm now in this small little gorge here. There's a whole bunch of basaltic rock with some other volcanic materials here and there. I found some flow banding, maybe some ashy kind of layers. A lot of basalt though overall, and the basalt has these orangish, I'm guessing like some kind of feldspar. There is a name for it, I can't remember, plagioclase or something. It's kind of neat. Oh, can't go that way. Have to find another way down. This guy just scared the little living daylights out of me. Holy smokes. Now for the rest of this summer, I'm going to be doing an internship with one of my instructors here at the college. I'm going to be assisting her, and mainly her graduate student, with this research project which is also taking place around southern Montana and near and in parts of Yellowstone. The research, from what I remember, they're looking for evidence that as the Yellowstone hotspot mantle plume, the hotspot track, if you know about that, it's basically a chain of calderas that starts, believe near Nevada and Oregon, works its way through Idaho into Wyoming, because the hotspot's stationary, but the North American plate's traveling over it. So over time, I believe it started forming around 17, 16 million years ago. It was basically popping up all these volcanic formations and calderas. But what they're looking for with this research project is evidence that when this plume came up, that it was doming up North America, and as it traveled, this dome moved. So picture like a mole hole. So as a mole, you know, is digging its way underground, you're getting that mole mound as it travels. You know, that's what they're looking for evidence for the Yellowstone hotspot. So we're going to be looking at some sediments. Going to be making strat columns, which sediment stuff like that is not my favorite thing to do. It is interesting. I had to take a class where we made tons of strat columns, so I'm kind of not really looking forward to that, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good time. Some of the other things I'll be doing is collecting rock samples, because samples. We're going to be doing something called thermochronology on apatite and zircon crystals within igneous rocks. So to put that simply, it's another form of age dating a rock. So something that happens with the minerals is when they're at a certain temperature and depth, their clock isn't ticking, but once they reach a certain temperature, usually as they cool, they'll hit this temperature, and then like some little clock in them starts ticking, like a timer, and then we can age date them. So that we're going to be looking at different igneous rocks close to Yellowstone hotspot and far away from Yellowstone hotspot, and what they're hoping to see is a trend that the thermochronology is younger closer to the hotspot and older further away, which would suggest that it uplifted more quickly at Yellowstone. And the further away you got, the less it uplifted, but still enough to come to the surface. So that would support that idea even more. So that's what I'll be doing this summer. Should be interesting. There'll be periods of time where I'll be gone for several weeks out in the field, and then there'll be other times where I'll have lots of time off. So it'll be hit and miss. So with that time off, hoping to do some rock hounding, some prospecting, maybe traveling around locations. Unfortunately, traveling is a bit expensive, as some of you might know right now. But I'm going to try not to let that stop me. And then also got some other personal projects. I got vehicles to fix up and sell, because that's something I do for side cash, side money. Fixing up vehicles, sell them off. Oh, and I need to finish that rock crusher. I'm so close. I bought an engine for it, but it didn't rotate the right way. And I thought about just slapping it on, calling it good, like it's good enough to just get it done. But I figured, nah, I'll just find another engine. I'll do it right, the way I want it, because the engine's not spinning the way I want it. And the way that this crusher was made, it's not easy to fix that necessarily. I could, but it's just, I'll get another engine. And that's all I need, is just get this engine mounted up, get my pulleys set in a belt, and then set up the chains inside, and the thing will be ready to go. It's that close. Alright, here at my desk, it's a little messy, but it'll just do. It's just covered in all my rocks and stuff. So on one of my class field trips, we were doing this study at this basin, the Chumstick Basin, located in northwestern Washington for the most part, right on the eastern side of the Cascades. But there were lots of units with fossils, lots of leaf fossils, some coal. I have a leaf fossil right here. You can see, I don't know what kind of leaf it is, but I believe that it has enough details here with these little limbs coming off the center stem, including this one here, for it to be identified. So I believe that's enough for this leaf to be identified. That's pretty cool though. So this next rock I'm going to show you is actually something I got almost a year ago. It was, I believe, before fall of my last semester. I was taking a paleontology class. We went to this local place right here in Idaho, not too far from Moscow, and we recovered
some nice fossils here. You can see this leaf here, some little needle like fern-like things, a couple different leaves. But you see there's all these different layers, and I haven't even opened up these layers yet, but almost every single layer you open there's fossils.
So I was planning to go back to my crystal spot. However, the roads have been washed out, so they have the mountains all closed. And this issue has been happening everywhere with flooding, with all the rain happening around the Pacific Northwest. Sure, some of you have seen the videos of even Yellowstone, like all these roads being washed out, so it's just a mess. So I haven't really been able to get to the spots I want to be at, or the rivers and the creeks are just way too high to do anything in them. I think it was at the beginning of this year or last year I was hoping we'd have a nice wet spring or a heavy snowfall. I guess be careful what you wish for, because now that's keeping me out from my spots or going up into the mountains at all, because the rain's just washing everything away. So once everything dries out, hopefully I can get back out there. Get back to that crystal spot. Get some more crystals out. Alright, so that'll do it. Hope you enjoyed seeing our little adventures down at field camp and the rocks and stuff and the geology that I just shared with you. Hoping this summer that I'll have time to get out there and explore new locations. We have that one location that me and Jesse have been trying to get to for like 3 years now. We've been mapping it out and just haven't been able to get back there because wildfire this last season, and now currently with the amount of rainfall we're getting, and even snow still, it just snowed not too far away from here and up in the mountains. It's just pushing everything back right now. Or the roads are just gone. Can't get to them. Can't get to our spots, I mean. So we'll just see how this year goes. We'll see what we can find. Definitely want to get back out in the field, get some more crystals, and we'll see what else happens this year. Should be an interesting year. Alright, so until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Take care.